Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room. Apologies for the late show. This was my fault because I forgot to send the link to everyone, set everything up, did my job, and then didn't do my job. So Spencer, William, and Hassan, the bufferer, apparently, everyone got here in the end, but it's my fault that we're late. So if you've got any criticisms, you can take it up with me. But thank you very much for joining us because we're going to be discussing Liverpool taking on Fulham Premier League tomorrow, 3 p.m. One of those I can't say the word, but yeah, one of those 3 p.m. kickoffs. Can't watch it on TV. Well, we can watch it on TV, but we'll get in a lot of trouble because they've been arresting people for that. So we're not going to do that. But here we are. Spencer, how you doing?
I'm good. It's perfectly legal to watch the game where I am in the US, so no issues for me on that.
Well, I don't have that luxury, unfortunately. So I'm going to take your word for that. Willem, all good?
Yeah, all fine. I'm not gonna rub it in. So let's just leave it at that. And then that's it.
You know what? That is the most perfectly timed thing ever. Hassan, how are you?
I'm fine. Whatever.
Mate, that was like a prime Suarez run into the box, hit it last moment. That was peak time, and that was incredible. So yeah, there's a few, you get your comments in, we can discuss them as we go, because the primary focus on this show is going to be the Fulham discussion, but there is a few other little links and rumours that we'll sort of get in touch with. Kirkes and Pedro. That's fancy the way that came up. I never used to do that. But yeah, so João Pedro, yeah, there is rumours going around. There's rumours to Frimpong, which will probably get discussed Sunday. I imagine there's a lot to get into, so we'll just get into it straight away. But we'll start off with the Fulham discussion because obviously that's the match that we all are here for. That's the one that we need to get 3 points in if we want to keep extending our league at the top of the Premier League table. I mean, Fulham are no pushovers themselves. They're currently 10th in the Premier League table. They've played 15 matches. They have played one more than us, but everyone has because of the Merseyside derby obviously being postponed. They've won 6, drawn 4, lost 5 with a 2-goal difference, and they are bang in the middle on 23 points in 10th behind Brentford on goal difference. Now, I mean, we'll start with you, Spencer. Like this, we'll start with Fulham, I suppose, because I quite like Fulham as a team. I think the way they've recruited has been really good. They've got a great manager in Marco Silva. Obviously, got a good track record. Hull, Everton, but he's a good manager. They've bought well with the players they've got. What do you make of Fulham's season so far with them being in 10th place?
Probably overachieving a bit, I would say. It is a good squad. They're recruiting well. Obviously, at least for their level, I think it's a good manager that they have in place, but I would not expect them to continue being in 10th. I would think they're probably a bit lower. Some of the players have been playing pretty well. Like Iwobi's having definitely his best season in the last several years. But I don't know. I look at the squad and there's good players in it, but I don't feel like the whole of their squad is the 10th best in the Premier League. But nonetheless, it's still been an impressive season for them so far.
Yeah, I mean, overachieving. I didn't expect to hear that, to be honest, because I think when I thought of Fulham at the start of this season, 10th is where I thought they'd sort of be. I didn't think they'd be pushing for those European places. There are 7 or 8 better teams than them, but I didn't think they were ever going to be in a danger of relegation. I think mid-table is probably where I personally would put them, but I completely agree in the sense of there are a few players in that team who are overachieving, and Willem amongst those big players, or say big players for Fulham, no offense, like the likes of Smith Rowe. Raul Jimenez is in there. He started to come into a bit of form. You've got Alex Iwobi, who's on 5 goals in 15 games this season, as well as getting 3 assists. Like, there is good attacking players in that Fulham team.
Yeah, and I mean, apart from good attacking players, I think from what you can see from a lot of their games, that they're a very disciplined team as well. So they're set up in a way where they're very hard to break down. They have had a few weird ones. So I think it was the one where they played Wolves at home, and then towards the end they completely just collapsed by the end of it, and then lost
4-1 loss.
Yeah, but in general, from the games that a couple of games that I've seen them play, they're just a Marco Silva side, really. If you look at it, as in he just does this with these teams where he sets up really well. Certain areas where he can make them dangerous, and yeah, they're a solid side. I think the overachieving part might be more in the sense that, like, for example, me, I had them around 12th, 13th expected for the league, if you like, we're going to predict it at the start of the league. But that's more as well. I think it just says more about the league overall right now, just how close it is between literally, I think, City in 4th, and I think it's Spurs in 11th or Newcastle in 12th, and they're only 7 points difference or something like that. So it's mental right now as well, how just tight it all is. So I imagine it will balance itself out a bit more. But yeah, no, it's not going to be an easy game tomorrow. I reckon it's they'll have a plan to kind of nullify us a little bit.
Yeah, and like I say, he says against Arsenal, they put up a mid block from hell. We struggled a bit against Girona's, and I think Fulham. When I'm expecting this game against Fulham, I'm expecting more of the Southampton route of things, more so than say the Brentford route or the Ipswich route from earlier on in the season. I think this is going to be a difficult game in that regard. They're not going to go down without a fight. They have been very good, like you said. Like they're a very disciplined team. They're very good off the ball. They rank 8th in the league for possession. So while it would be easy to imagine them as this sort of sit deep, they're just really good at blocking. They are great on the counter attack. They are great when they've got possession. And Hassan, I mean, sticking with the Fulham thing, we've got to give him credit as well, because we'll touch on individual players in a moment, but this is a Fulham side who lost João Palhinha in the summer, and I think a lot of people were looking at that and thinking, key player, middle of the pitch, he dictates play. They look better this season than they did last season, I'd argue, and they've filled the void left by him and Mitrovic with goals. Like, you've got to give Fulham credit for the way they've adapted to that situation, surely.
Yeah, exactly. As you mentioned, their recruitment has been really good. I think the manager is really good in identifying the players who he needs. Um, they replaced them with Sander Berge. Finally, he got his move. He was linked to us every window, and he has been playing really well for them. Uh, Smith Rowe has been a revelation for them. He's new there, and for them it's really good. And really shrewd signing in Joaquim Anderson as well, who was really good for Crystal Palace. He would have gone to a really good, a bigger club, but because of his age, maybe he settled for Fulham. He plays really nice passes. If they are in low block, he can ping those crosses and towards Smith Rowe, who is really fast. He can and their striker. Mexican Raul Jimenez is really
Jimenez.
good in
Yeah.
finishing. Jimenez. I thought that this season will be of Munoz, but Jimenez has retaken his place, and they are really well organized. I really have really bad feelings when they come to us. I remember Lamina scoring for them and against us, and breaking our really good run at Anfield. So it will be a tough game. Hopefully, we can get lead and finish off the game really fast.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham have been a bit of a difficult team for us in the past. There has been a few key games in particular. Like in the last 10 Premier League matches, they've drew against us 2-2. They beat us 1-0 in 2021. Before that, they drew against us 1-1. Last season, they were really difficult. They almost beat us in that incredible 4-3 where someone said that Harry Wilson always scores against us. That's the only game he's actually scored against us in, was that 4-3. But they're a dangerous team, and against us, they do have a history of they can upset us. And we go through the depth of what they've got. Alex Iwobi, we've touched on. They've got Raul Jimenez, Smith Rowe, Harry Wilson, Andreas Pereira, Adama Traore. Now, he's a key player to touch on. I don't think a lot of people are looking at in particular, Spencer, in the sense of we're going to do our match predictions, but obviously Robertson's going to start because Tsimikas isn't quite up to fitness yet to start or be in the squad, I don't think. Now, Robertson this season has struggled against Madueke. He struggled against Saka. He struggled against Cunha earlier in the season against Wolves when he started to drift out wide. Against the Dharma Traore, I mean, that's a terrifying prospect going against someone that quick and that strong. So, I mean, is that a key area of the pitch for this match, do you think?
Yeah, I would say probably, especially because issues it seems with Robertson, it's not so much that he's lost like his wits about the game or like his technical ability. It seems like he's just lost a step physically, and that's like the one area that Traore has many steps on everybody is just physicality and pace. So that would be definitely worrying for me. I think probably especially worrying with that would be that the way that we set up the more defensive of our midfielders doesn't play on the left. So we would have to have, it would either be probably Jones or McAllister will probably have to cover a lot more and kind of pinch out and pinch down. If Robertson does get in trouble, which I think would probably hurt us in possession a bit if they have to track back and put in that defensive effort. But yeah, I hadn't really even thought about that being one of the key areas, but the way you phrase it and the way you set it up, I definitely think that's definitely going to be a key spot. Also, to clarify something I said earlier, the surprise bit is that they're like ahead of United and Spurs and Newcastle. It's not necessarily like where they sit, like number in the table, but kind of the teams that are ahead of them. So just, yeah.
Right. I see what you mean now. So it's just because everyone else has been so poor, it's a bit of a shock that they're ahead of these. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think that's fair enough. And we're going to get into the Liverpool aspect on things because we are going to start working out, who we think is going to play, what the best way to do it is. Now, you touched on Alexis McAllister. He is banned for this game. He did get that yellow card against Newcastle, so he is missing this match. He got his 5th yellow, which is shit. It is what it is. But we've still got enough depth. But we'll start with the back line, and I think the big one, Willem, is goalkeeper. Now, I put the question on Redman earlier that I still think there's a debate over who starts, not for a disrespectful thing of quality. And I'll let you give your thoughts on this, but I think that Alisson has just come back from an injury, and it's not like in that Girona game he had an easy match. He was tested and he was throwing himself around and he looked great. But for just coming back for your first game, that was trial by fire in a sense. And I think Keller has maybe justified it, or do you think we are just going to go Alisson's back in the team, full stop?
I almost feel like there's like an inner like Roy Keane like channeling out of me right now. We're like going, he's finally back. That's his jab. So yeah, no, that's genuinely also just kind of how I'm looking at it. Look, he's back. He played the full 90 against Girona. There's I don't see any reason to start Kelleher ahead of Alisson, especially like if he would have maybe had a shaky first game against Girona, then maybe I would have said play Keller for both this game and the League Cup game, just because I would have given him the League Cup game anyway. But there's no reason. I don't see a reason to not start Alisson tomorrow and just start Kelleher on Wednesday. I think it is. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday we play?
Wednesday.
All right.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. Is it harsh on Kelleher that he is? I mean, not harsh because obviously we know the way football is. There's only one position for 2 players. But do you feel bad about it at all?
I think if you're kind of keeping your fresh memory, obviously the last game he's kind of played was the howler against Newcastle. Now that he had for us,
yeah.
Look, I think he stepped in really well. But at the end of the day, Alisson is Alisson. Like if Alisson's there and he's fit, you're going to play him.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. It was just something that I wanted because I think a lot of people, I think Keller has done so well over these past few months. Like he's been almost Alisson's level at points, and I hate that it ended on that sour note with Newcastle, and I hate the fact that it's just Alisson's back by Keller had done. I wanted to give him that question because I think he deserves that bit more sort of respect about it because of everything he's done.
Like he definitely does, but I think the whole by Kelleher, Alisson is back kind of point was only going to get more enforced after this season anyway, because then it's apart from just having Alisson, it's also hello Mama Dashley. So it's another problem you're also bringing in, and like you said as well, like apart the fact they ended on such a sour note is annoying, but like we all know how good he is and how great he has been for the club. So I don't see there's any it's just more of the same. I'm happy for him that he did well. Hopefully we can get him to move to a good club at the end of the season. because he's going to want to be your number one and he's going to want to play. And but Alisson's back, so you got to play Alisson. So it's that simple at the end of the day for me as well.
I'm telling you, man, he's going to Celtic in summer. I am telling everyone now it's going to happen. It's going to be Celtic. But yeah, that brings us swiftly down to the back line, Hassan, because it's bar Ibu, Trent's back to fitness, but he did play against Girona. He did come on against Newcastle. What are we thinking for that back line? Like, who are we putting to start? Is Trent starting? Is Gomez or Quansah in the middle of the pitch, or Gomez on right back? What's the plan here?
I think it will be Trent right back with Gomez and Virgil at center back and Robbo starting as left back. I think in the last match, Newcastle, maybe in the last stream, I said that we should have started Gomez as the right back and Quansah in the middle with Virgil because when Quansah came in the middle, he was better because it's a known position for him. And Gomez has already played at the right back. I think maybe it to deal with Gordon, it would have been better. But I think with Trent regaining his full fitness, I think he will be straight back at the right back, and it will be Gomez, Virgil, and Robbo.
Yeah, I mean, we touched. Oh, hello. We touched on Robertson. Obviously, he's had his struggles against these fast wingers, Hassan. We touched on Adama Traore before, but can't. It's just difficult because we've got no other option. And I'm not dismissing Robertson, saying he's bad at all. I love Robertson to death. He's one of my favourite ever players. But there is that worry. And obviously, like Spence said before, there is no McAllister to come back and help cover him. So if it does become a situation where Adama Traore does go there and does start giving Robertson a bad time, I mean, is there any other option that we could possibly utilise in that part? Could Gomez go there if it's a struggle, or could you see anything that we could do to particularly help him in that area of the pitch as cover?
Me or Spencer?
Oh, that was first. It's all gone feet on. Oh, just anyone, yeah, just jump in. Everyone just.
Yeah, I think
mean,
with McAllister.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think with McAllister not playing, I think Jones should be deployed there, and he should be in double duty covering for Robbo as well, and uh, playing Gapco or Diaz on the left to help them out. So he has to come back and help the left side as well. It will be Jones, I think.
I mean, Spencer, do you agree with that sentiment? I mean, Fulham this season have been the pressing in midfield's been terrific. They've actually been really good at that, and that tends to set them off on the attack. So, with that in mind, I mean, what's the best way to set up this midfield to get a result against these guys?
I think, well, I mean, I guess we can't include McAllister anyways, but I think probably leaving him out, even for the cover for Robertson, I think still probably leaving him out would have been the best way. If they're going to be pressing, I would think that like a calming presence in midfield is probably best. I think I've cited this before on here, but McAllister is much more of a vertical passer. Like his progressive passing distance per attempt is double that of what Jones's is. And as such, he's more side to side, shorter passing, more of like a metronome. So I think that sort of a presence in the midfield. I think he's a bit better under pressure. I think that probably if they're going to be pressing in the midfield, that's probably something that we're going to need. Obviously, Gravenberch is just press resistant. There's nothing they can do to phase him. So that's not going to be an issue there. And then I guess that leaves Soboslai as the third one. I'm not really sure, unless I'm just like completely missing or not thinking about somebody else that could go into the midfield. I think it has to be those three. But even with the full complement, I think Jones is probably still the best choice.
Yeah, Jones would be terrific in this game. The other one, Harvey Elliott. I mean, like he's obviously just come back from fitness, Spencer. Like,
Yeah.
do you think that this would be the game to maybe play Harvey Elliott in, form a team? It'd be a good way to sort of warm him up to the speed again.
Maybe as a substitute if that's something that we need. But I would think probably the League Cup is a better place for him to make his introduction and get back up to fitness. But I mean, I'm a huge fan of his. So if he is the one, if he is selected, then I'd be just fun. But yeah, I don't, from like a fitness perspective, I don't think I'd be tossing him straight into the Premier League, especially on a start. Maybe bring him on at the 60th minute and give him 30 minutes to get back in.
Yeah, I mean, Willem, are you in agreement with the selection on midfield that Spencer's put in?
Yeah, I do agree. It's pretty much like, I think as well, if you look just on pressing wise on who are more resistant to the press and who can also press themselves really well, I think you'd want to have both Soboslai and Jones in there anyway. And obviously, well, Gravenberch right now, he's just like the one name who's just kind of, you don't even question it anymore. He's just in there every week.
Yeah.
So I think it would have been them two regardless. I think Harvey might actually have more of a chance of getting a full 90 at right wing on Wednesday, because I don't think because Chiesa is still having kind of his fitness issues, not really fully there. I think Jota is someone who we will see make a little appearance on tomorrow, but like towards the end of the game. But I think the League Cup as well is definitely going to be more of a game for Harvey to really go at it, and obviously maybe Endo as well. Maybe Morton if he's back from that. I don't know. Was Morton an injury or was he ill when the reason why he didn't travel now for the Girona game? I'm saying I don't know if he was ill or if he was injured. One of the two.
I'm not 100% certain myself, to be completely honest. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. But I mean, anyways, it's also more of a feeling because I'm like, honestly, and I know it might sound really weird, but I truly think we also have a really good chance to go for both in the long term for the Premier League and for the Champions League, like literally both of them. And I think I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't actually be too disappointed if we kind of got knocked out of the League Cup and at least kind of get a few games out of the way.
No.
I know. It's a weird one. It's genuinely the first time I've ever had this, and it's such a weird mentality thing as well to do because you're not guaranteed anything else out of it. But like it's more like a back of the head kind of thought, which is more why I'd be like I'd at least be more willing to, because Slot seems to barely rotate at the moment as well. So it's like I'd at least be more willing to really make a couple more rotational changes in the cup. Not in the sense of saying, oh, I'm putting out a B team, I don't believe we can win. More in the sense that we can win with the B team, but then at least go out and win with the B team. Because I'm also kind of scared that he's just going to play a strong 11 again on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I do get that. You do need the whole point of having this squad. I mean, you look at Chelsea; they literally field a different 11 for their cup games, and it works. So, not to give them too much credit as such, but this is the whole point of having the squad, is to rotate. And Fulham, I agree in the sense of this should be the game which we majorly prioritise. I agree with that. I think Elliott will probably start the Southampton game. I don't think he's going to start tomorrow. I think Soboslai, Gravenberch, Jones is probably just a dead set. And I get it. If you start an 11's work and everything's working, don't fix what isn't broken. They've just had an extra bit of time off with the Everton suspension. So it's not like they're in a bad place. It's no different than a normal Champions League week. So, yeah, I get that. I can understand. And Fulham, formation-wise, I mean, they tend to do this. They tend to do a bit of a 4-3-3, but they can go into a 4-2-3-1. And I think their plan, because their wingers do at points come quite narrow to receive the ball, is I think they're going to try and overload that midfield. Spencer mentioned before about calm and presence, Willem, in that midfield. Curtis Jones has been exceptional at that this season. And with that in mind, I mean, do you see him progressing as a bit more of an attack-minded midfielder in that game tomorrow? Or given Fulham's ability on the transition, do you think he's going to maybe sit in that double pivot kind of role and protect the back line more so than try and get forward?
I think he'll be in the double pivot with Grav more as well. Like, I think he's better as a help defender on the left-hand side than Soboslai would be. So I think also purely for that reason, I would do it. Or you would almost have to switch it around and then kind of put Gravenberch on the left-hand side of the midfield, then drop Dom to the right-hand side. But then you also get to the point where then you're playing a right-hand side, which is really good attacking, which is Trent, Dom, and Salah. But then Dom and Trent in their positions defensively can also sometimes get outdone pretty easily, even though they work hard for it. So I think it's also about the balance of it, and I think it would just be better overall balance as well if you have John play that little deeper tomorrow and helping out defensively on that left-hand side.
Yeah, well, so he says, I really prefer Jones being forward thinking, but playing deeper. He excels at that. And he's very good at that, picking up the ball deep and traveling with it, getting things going on the front foot. I think I might be wrong. I'm trying to remember from memory. I think he's like the third in the Liverpool squad for progressive carries. I think he's only behind Szoboszlai and Nunez. I think they're the two highest progressive carriers in the Liverpool squad. So, he's very good at doing that. And Fulham are very attack heavy because, like Stephen says, both of Fulham's starting centre backs are out tomorrow. In actuality, Reece Nelson is another player who's out injured. They've got no Harrison Reed. He's out with a knee injury. Calvin Bassey is suspended. Joachim Anderson is out with an injury. And Tom Kearney is suspended. Now, that's 5 big players for them. And with that injury list in mind, Hassan, that back line is going to be, I think they're down to like the 3rd and 4th choice centre backs now. We've got to get the early goal, surely. Like, the early goal has to be a priority in this type of match because we don't want another Southampton situation.
Yeah, exactly. And the game is at Anfield, and with momentum with us, with Newcastle game, we all thought that maybe we have given a bit of room for them, but both of them, City and Arsenal, drawing has kept us ahead as well. And so I don't know who will be playing. Tosin was moved to Chelsea. If Bassey and Anderson is not playing, do you guys know who will be playing for them at the
Yeah.
centre back?
So in their last game against Arsenal, their back line was Kenny Tete, Issa Diop, Calvin Ugamumba. I don't know how you quite pronounce that. Ughelmumba and Anthony Robinson. So Diop, who I think he was at West Ham, if I'm right in saying, and the other centre back who. So the one from West Ham, and not as a disrespectful way, the other centre back, I don't, Ughelmumba or something like that. So, it's a very
the one
3rd and
which
4th choice.
yeah the one which worry me is Anthony Robinson. He plays so well against us. Every time he plays against us, I think I want him. That we should go for him. He played really well against Arsenal as well, and he always have a good game against Salah as well. So hopefully Salah with his form gets one over him this time.
Yeah, well, he needs to. I think Robertson, to be fair, he's a good player. Like, there were people touting, I think it was between him and Aiton Yuri. A lot of people were debating over for who should be the left back, and Robinson's a very good shout. And you touched on there, like, he was good against Arsenal. In their last 3 games, they've got results against teams in the top half. Well, not Tottenham. I'm used to that. But, like, they got a draw against Arsenal. They beat Brighton, which we struggled with earlier this season twice, actually. And then they drew with Tottenham as well. So they're on good form after that 4-1 trouncing to Wolves. And they beat Newcastle earlier in the season. They gave Man United a run for their money, which isn't too hard, but it is what it is. I mean, Spencer, like we touched on, then they've got a weaker back line. And we touched on the fact that, yeah, they are in good form, but we're in better form. Who starts? Because we are going to get into the sort of the debate that gets everyone going. It got mentioned yesterday. I've done it on my channel. It's all over the world, is the Darwin Nunez predicament, because Jota and Chiesa, according to Arne Slot, are both fit enough to be in the squad. Whether or not they play, we don't know, but they are fit enough to be on the bench. They're fit enough to be involved. Now, I'm giving you the sort of free reign, because obviously Salah starts. Who is the other positions in that starting lineup for this game against Fulham, and why?
Yeah, I would play Gakpo on the left and Luis Diaz down the middle. I think that's been the most effective trio, even when we've had everybody healthy of every combination. The Nunez part is difficult because it's not like like last year he had his struggles where like he hit the post like 8 times or something like really ridiculous. And it's like, well, he's 2 inches off the other way next time. And like, he's, second in the league for goals, but that's not the case this year. He's not generating chances. He's tracking back more, puts more effort in like defensively, but all of his like underlying attacking numbers have plummeted this year. And I don't know if he's just not taken to what Slot is asking him to do. But it seems like Luis Diaz playing down the middle absolutely has. So I think that's probably our best front three, even when healthy. Even when Jota comes back, I'd still probably play that front three. Obviously, you can mix and match given different opponents and the tactics that would be required. But the other thing, if I'm recalling correctly, so Fulham has there's a center back that we couldn't pronounce the name. I went and looked. I'm not even going to give it a try.
Yes.
I'd butcher it too. But they also have Jorge Cuenca, who they bought from Villarreal, who's not played, I don't think, this year. He might play. He, if I recall, was the third choice center back, so not even a starter at Villarreal, and was pretty immobile at that. Issa Diop is not really known for his mobility either. I think having probably a quick center forward, movement-oriented one, like what Luis Diaz provides, I think that could be just an edge in terms of, Jota's not like, he's like fine, he's fast, but his thing isn't like quick movements and stuff. He's more finding space in channels and more like reliable runs, whereas Diaz is just like fucking rapid. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say that on here. He's really quick.
It's done now anyway, so just everyone just crack on now. Fuck.
He's really quick. I think given the center back pairings that they might have, I think Luis Diaz also makes sense to play down the middle. So those would be my front three.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very good point. And I'm slowly, you're absolutely right with Nunez, because I've done a video for my thing and like looking at his stats, I think he's only managed in the Premier League 17 shots this season as opposed to 42 by the same point last season. He's got less progressive carries, less progressive passes. The only metrics he's actually improved in are his tackling. I think he's doubled his tackling rate, and his switching of play. He switched play 6 times this season. By this same point last season, he hadn't done it once, and he actually only did it 6 times throughout the whole campaign. So clearly, Slot wants him to come back. He wants him in that deeper role. The average heat map, he's actually deeper than Curtis Jones this whole season, which shows just how much Slot doesn't want him getting forward or staying forward, perhaps. So we'll carry on with that one in a second. Just as a bit of a halftime kind of thing, can everyone comment? And these 3 guys can get involved as well if they want to. Can you list every Liverpool and Fulham double agents? That's every player that has played for both Liverpool and Fulham in the Premier League era. Comment down below. Anyone that you know. I think I haven't got the list in front of me just yet. I think I know like 10 off the top of my head, but I will get the list up in a moment. I'll probably read it out towards the end. But yeah, if anyone as we go wants to shout any out, absolutely go for it. So, I mean,
Your favorite Liverpool player ever?
Who's what, sorry?
Your favorite Liverpool ever?
Yes.
Is a double agent.
Yes. My favourite ever Liverpool player is a Fulham and Liverpool double agent, and that one, I'm not going to give the answer away, but he is my absolute favourite, and I will die on that hill. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Hassan. I like that. Willem, I mean, we touched on the Nunez discussion then, and he is in piss poor form, let's face it. Like that Newcastle game, God love him, and this isn't a slander thing. He's so good at getting in the right positions. He's so good at running and like just everything about him in that sense. But he needs to start scoring. Even Slot said himself, like in his press conferences today when he was talking about Darwin Nunez. If I can just find the actual quote, that'd be amazing because my computer decided to do it. He basically said that if you judge Darwin on his goals, 2 in 17 is not good enough for us and for me, but it's what he does off the ball that makes him so effective. For me, he has an impact. If you only look at goals, he's not scored the amount that we want a number 9 to score. If we lose the ball, however, he's aggressive. Maybe he wants to score too much. Do you agree with that, Willem?
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I'm not as surprised as the rest, but because I've been on this kind of side of the debate for quite a while now, like as in I don't dislike the guy, but I just don't think he's ever going to be good enough to be a title winning striker. and to be someone who gets you the Premier League and who gets you the Champions League. And I already had this like towards the end of last season, pretty much, where I was just like, it already, and I think actually the pointing out of the stats now as well, like his underlying numbers are down. Even last year, when his numbers were up so much, he still missed too much, and he still cost us kind of more than actually gaining us in some other occasions as well. And I think it's just coming down to it. I think it's as well. It just feels like it's one of those fits where it's just one of those moves where it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. Both like club doesn't fit, him doesn't fit. It just, for some reason, it feels like it's just a match not made for each other as well. I think that's just probably my calmest way of putting it. I'm not going to get into the details of it because I'm honestly as well just tired of it. So I like, look, if it were up to me, I would really keep him out of the squad for a couple of weeks. He's just obviously his head's not there. It's gone. I would almost more be like, look, give him a couple of weeks off, see if we can get him actually like mentally a bit further up for the second half of the season, and then see if we can kind of up his value as well. And like after this season, we got to look for a replacement, and we got to move him on, in my opinion. And that's just really it. And I wouldn't start him on Saturday either. And that kind of also shows what it means, or even playing from the bench.
But you like. I'll keep that bit in mind because that's the bit that I'm going to come to you to in a moment before we get to you, Hassan. But we're talking about, we need to get his head into it for the second half of this season. We're 3 seasons in. All right, we're 2.5 seasons in to our most expensive ever player who's meant to be scoring goals. If we're still at the stage where we need to get his head into it, there's something not right.
I meant it more that, like, as in the sense that we can hopefully get him to play well, so we can up his value a little bit for when we do sell him in the summer. Because look, it's not going to work out. It's not. It just isn't. It's not good enough. Like, it's just that simple, really. Like, you don't really have to go further than that. And the difference is he's not like a Firmino. A Firmino would offer so much more despite not scoring that many goals. And he just Firmino is Firmino. There's just no. Like, I heard someone make that argument over the last week as well. I won't name any names, but I was like, yeah, but Bobby Firmino got a lot of criticism for not scoring goals. 2 completely different players. You can't compare it. Like,
he ran with purpose.
I mean, but there's more technique in Bobby Firmino's little toe than in the whole of Darwin Núñez at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, that is also kind of the difference with it. So it's just not a fair comparison. It was never a fair comparison anyway, because they're 2 different different players to what they are. But it's just becoming more chaos and less what we were hoping it to be. And the chaos is now also not working in the right way because we're getting more of the moments where he can't even head a ball properly, and he's just missing too many of the same chances that we keep on seeing him miss every time. And now, truly, that's it. I won't say anything more on it.
Giving up. I mean, no, I completely agree. I think Darwin Núñez, everyone goes, well, chaos, and he runs and he does it. And again, I want it to work. I want it to desperately work. But you're absolutely spot on with the Firmino thing. Firmino ran, but he did it with purpose. Everything he did, there was a reason for it. He was intelligent. Klopp said he was literally the nucleus of that team. Whereas Núñez, it just feels like he's running for the sake of running. And that City game in particular, the one recently, he's in the box, he clears 2 headers. Fantastic. Absolutely no issue with that. 2 seconds later, he's at the other end of the pitch, and he's like an inch away from breaking someone's leg because he's just getting too stuck into it. And it's senseless. There's no need for it. And Hassan, we're going to move on from the Núñez thing in a moment, but would you be starting him in this Fulham game, or is Diaz in the middle, or Diogo Jota? I know he's just come back from injury, but is there a way where he starts maybe?
Let's get Jadon Danns back in.
Take it, honestly.
I think Danns is far off because we all know that Slot really do shuffle so radically. I think maybe Diaz will play in the middle, and Jota will get some time. Núñez as well with Southampton game coming in. With Núñez thing, I think it's the system and the demands of centre forward from Klopp and Slot are different for him as well. I think with Klopp, he was a bit free to do his stuff. Slot requires a lot from him. So I think changing of his style because he was not starting in the earlier games because he had to change his game. Now he has changed. I think he is doing things which Slot requires, but the main thing is scoring goals. I think with Klopp, it was all really rapid. Things were coming in. He had chances. But now it's the build-up is a bit slower. It is more methodical. Maybe he's understand. I think, and if we look at in that way, only Salah. I feel this that only Salah tries to play him, try to assist him with everyone else because it's all in the chances there. There are 3 or 4 players. Everyone tries to take their chances with Kepko, whenever he comes in, he takes his chance and he scores. Diaz, he scores. There are the assists. I think is a bit less. I think if I think Soboslai is also he plays right and left, not in the middle. I think if Harvey is there, I think he will help him massively. So I think. But maybe as Willem said, he reminds me of Morientes. I really wanted Morientes to do really well for us when he was at Monaco Real. I really wanted him here, and it never worked. Hopefully, because the only positive thing and positive thing for me is age. He's 24, 25. He has a lot of time, and I think with the amount we spent, I don't think we will recover it now. So it can work, but it's a really short window for him to show what not us to the manager. He can if he can justify his place, then he will be there.
You've made me sad now by saying Morientes. That's real. That really, I had like Vietnam, different images popping around my head. Okay, no, but no, I look. Nunez is what he is. I don't think he's going to change much. Going into this Fulham game anyway. List every Liverpool and Fulham double agent. So, we'll come back to that in a moment. I'm just putting it back here just while I ask Spencer the next bit because I want to know if everyone can get them. There's a couple in there that are there's 15 of them just to sort of add a bit to that. Now, Spencer, obviously, Jota's back, Chiesa's back, as in a sort of, we say back, but, they've just come back to fitness. Do you expect to see either of them in this match? Do we expect to maybe see Jota come on the pitch for Nunez, or do you think that this is just, maybe we will start Nunez, or maybe we will start Diaz, and whichever one of them we don't start with, the other one will come on, so to speak?
First of all, Fabio Carvalho, that's one off the top of my head. I've been racking my brain for others.
If anyone's got a pen and paper, feel free to write down and put them up.
Did we send Shea Ojo on loan there? Or am
Yes.
is that okay? I don't know if I'm going to get any others, but that's my contribution. Okay. To your question, I mean, I think it'd be cool. I think Will makes a good point. At this point, I don't know that Darwin Nunez should be playing that much in the league. I would think hopefully it's Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah up top, and then when we need a sub, bring on Jota as the sub, especially because he's going to be coming in as a sub, so it's not like he's playing the full 90. That'd be a good way to get back into fitness, provided he is healthy. And I like what he offers better, just currently to the game as compared to Nunez. I don't want to, and Chiesa is, I mean, believe it when I see it that he's healthy. If he does come on and he does play, great. But to my knowledge, like he's Bigfoot. Like he exists in some mythical world, and there's rumors that he's in and around the club and that we pay him. But when we see it, then I'll believe it. I don't want to keep dunking on Nunez either, but there's another thing I was thinking about. It feels like because Salah does his thing, Diaz does his thing. It almost feels like if you look at the underlying metrics, specifically one like progressive receptions. So like when you receive a progressive pass, to me it indicates a lot of like it's almost like a reception in American football, to where it's you are the one receiving it, so you don't get all the credit for it. But to have found the space or made the run, it still is quite a skill to have earned the reception. So this year, basically, Nunez and Gakpo, their numbers have flipped. Nunez was one of the leaders in the Premier League last year. He's down like middle of the pack now. That's flipped. I think Gakpo, I think he might lead Liverpool on progressive receptions per 90. He's like third in the league. So that role, a lot of that running and a lot of just that centricity of the attack is now going through Gakpo, which I think serves us a lot better. And if that is the case, I think probably one of our best off the ball attackers is Jota. So even more ammunition that if we do have a substitute, I think he fits a lot better, especially if it is Diaz coming off and we keep Gakpo and Salah. They keep doing their things and Jota goes on the middle.
Well, I think you spot on. I think Gakpo as well, because Klopp was the one playing him in the wrong position, so to speak. Slot's come in and said, no, you're a left winger, you play left wing. I think that's maybe why the numbers have flipped, is because Gakpo's playing the way he wants to now. So I think you're absolutely spot on with that. And sorry, I thought you were going to say something.
I was just agreeing. Yes, I agree with you agreeing with me. Yes.
And I mean, Hassan has gone. He couldn't handle the slander. I'm sorry, Hassan. We didn't mean to talk about Nunez that much, but it is what it is. No, and I think as well with Jota, because Jota is a lot more, he's better at coming deep. He's more of a false nine, so to speak. I'd say more than a striker. He can finish, but you do see him come deep a lot, and I think that's something that Nunez really does struggle with. I mean, Willem, we've touched on Jota slightly. If you want to jump in on it, feel free. But Chiesa now, Spencer's made a really good point. I'll believe it when I see it. It's like Thiago. It's just we've mentioned like two of my least favorite of my top 10 most stressful Liverpool players ever in Morientes and Thiago, but I don't want to see that with Chiesa. Do you think there's a world where he maybe does come into this game at all?
I did kind of want to chirp in before to him. I said we technically replaced Diogo. We just didn't realize it would be with Chiesa, and that was kind of it. But yeah, no. I mean, it's like a weird one. It's like we've been teased for like a week now already with Chiesa, where it's like, oh, he might be in the squad this time. Oh, he might be there, and then he went into the under 21s for was it when he was supposed to be along for the Everton game, and then he played the under 21 games and we didn't play our game.
Yeah.
All right, and then like this week now with the illness, now probably like maybe he makes the bench because like he's back enough to do the training part, but then he's recovering from an illness, so is he really that fit? So I would still say we probably do not see him this game, and that they're probably working to giving him a big chunk of minutes on Wednesday as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, let's say this is, I think Chiesa starts Southampton for sure. Now, if Chiesa is healthy playing, we could wake up tomorrow and suddenly be out for 3 months. That's true, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because his injury record isn't as awful as people like to make out. He just had one really bad injury, and I think that's just sort of put this narrative that he gets injured every week. But he has been injured since he got here, so maybe we'll wait and see. We're going to go around and get everyone's score predictions because we are finishing in like 5 minutes or so. And then we're going to do the double agent game. And we're going to do, one at a time, everyone can name them. Spencer's already done Shea Ojo and Carvalho.
But I had the two names, I forgot to say them.
That's it. Well, there's 15, so we'll see how close we can get. Hassan, I want to get your score predictions.
2-0.
2-0. I'm assuming to us.
Yeah, 2-0.
Okay. Top banana. Spencer, score prediction.
2-1. They get a late consolation. It's never really close though.
Ooh, Okay, I like that. And Willem,
I'm going to go for the opposite. I'm going to go 3-1, but I'm going to go. It's going to be like either we go 1-0 up or they go 1-0 up. It's going to stay 1-1 for a really long time. Then like 75th, 80th minute, we'll go 2-1, and then the last minute we get 3-1. But like, as in, it's going to be one of those games where it just feels uncomfortable the entire time.
yeah.
And that sounds like the most Liverpool type of game in December, whilst you're trying to kind of get these run of games through. So yeah.
No, I completely agree. I think I said 3-2 earlier on, and I think that's the score I'm going to stick with. I don't think this is going to. It's at Anfield, but I think Fulham, they've got it in them to cause us problems. Derek Sutton says 3-0, LFC being positive. Absolutely. I'm just trying to. I hate saying like 2-0, 3-0, because I think you look like a knob if you concede. So I'm just sort of like. I'm going to say 3-2. I think it's going to be like a Southampton type of game. Greenland says 1-1. No, none of that. None of that. It's 3 points or nothing. Right then, we'll do the double agent thing just for a bit of fun to get it out of the way, because we've basically discussed the whole LFC thing to death. Stephen says 2-1 LFC. Absolutely. As I mentioned before, there are 15 double agents who have played for both Fulham and Liverpool. Spencer's given me 2. He's named Fabio Carvalho and Shea Ojo. Shea Ojo is a really good shout, actually. I think a lot of people would have forgot about that. Willem, going to you. Have you got any that you can name?
I mean, Harvey Elliott.
Yeah. Elliott's the third one.
And then I'm assuming this is what Hassan meant with your favourite Fulham and Liverpool player, Paul Konchesky.
No. None of that. None of that. I'm not having it. I'm not having that. That was such a dig, and I don't like it. No, it's not Paul. Yes, he's an answer, but no, he's not. Fucking hell.
I mean,
else?
technically, Harry Wilson also counts, does he not?
Yeah. That's 5. That's 5. We're on 5. Hassan, have you got any as well?
Yeah, Danny Murphy.
Yeah. Yep.
Laurie Delavella. I think that was his name. The two guys
Laurie
we
Delavalli.
shifted for Paul Konchesky. And the other one was a Swedish guy. I forgot his name.
Swedish. Who's that?
Danny, yeah. He was Kachaliknes, something like that. For Konchesky, we gave them 2 youth players for him.
My head went after the Paul Konchesky answer anyway, to be fair. I didn't even hear off the name.
I nearly knocked it off his
But it
shoulder.
was John Arne.
Yes.
There we go.
Big John Arne Risa. Beautiful bastard.
I wanted to say Risa as well, but I was thinking in my head, I was like, am I just completely fabricating it that he played for Fulham afterwards? Because I remember him going to Roma, but yeah, then he did.
He did. I think he went to Roma, then Fulham, I think was the order. So,
Roma after Roma.
Sexy man. John Arne Risa.
I must have been so happy with Paul Konchesky at the time.
His brother was also there.
To Fulham around the same time.
Fucking Paul Konchesky. I was talking about the real best left back. None of this Paul Konchesky bollocks. John Arne Risa, favourite Liverpool player. No, so I mean, we've got quite a few. There's a couple that have been missed. So John Arne Risa made the most appearances of anyone in the list. He made 348 appearances. But yeah, John Arne Risa, as Derek Sutton says, Ryan Babel, he's another one who did it. Danny Murphy, we've touched on, Harvey Elliott, Fabio Carvalho, Paul Konchesky, Shea Ojo. There's a couple that haven't been mentioned. Steve Finnan, that was a big one. He played for Fulham as well. We've also got Stan Collymore. That was one there as well who never did it. Karl-Heinz Riedel, it's like throwback and a half that. Lazar Markovic. Now he's also he's my least favorite Liverpool player of all time. I absolutely get in the bin, Markovic. He does my nothing. Nico Williams, he's another one. I'm so full of spite. Nico Williams is another one. Fabio Carvalho, Paul Konchesky, Shea Ojo, Danny Guthrie is another one. Harry Wilson, and as Hassan said, Laurie Delavalli is another one who he only made 1 appearance for us. So if you got that one, credit to you, Hassan. Fair play, because that's one that I never would have got in a million years. But we are going to wrap up. We've given our score predictions. We've given our starting 11 for who we think is going to start against Fulham. Leave in the comments down below who you think is going to start, what you think of the score predictions, and let me know how many you got of the 15 players for a little bit of fun. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Willem. Thank you, Hassan. Hassan, who named the most obscure player ever, Willem, who named the most wank player ever, and Spencer for just being a joy, to be honest. Willem can get in the bin. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next